welcome to Saturday Talks. It's the first one of the year, and I'm really excited because I have a lot of interesting things to talk about for this month. So, as cultural highlights, this month, 19 days from now, we will have a new president and vice president of the United States. That is very exciting because who I voted for won. So, and they're moving forward. So, that's really exciting, making history with the fact that we have Kamala Harris, first woman, Black woman, South Asian woman who is going to be in one of the highest offices of the land, so to say. So I'm really excited about that. And next thing is that I do want to talk about a couple of different things that we'll be doing in terms of the culture of this series. So second, the other thing that I really want to talk about is I'm really excited is that I'm thinking about starting a segment of like a part of this series where I'm going to be bringing on guests. I really feel like what would be best is obviously you're getting my perspective on a lot of different things, but I do want to bring in a lot of friends of mine and people that I know who are from different countries, maybe have studied another language or maybe have studied abroad, just so you can get multiple perspectives of language and culture in all aspects. It's not even just the aspect of language, but even, work life, education. So you're getting a full, well-rounded experience. So we're going to be starting that soon, and I'm really excited because I really want you to get perspectives on different from different people in terms of how language and culture has really affected their lives, whether it be they're coming here from another country or vice versa, or all aspects of where language and culture is applicable. So I'm excited for that. Another thing that I really wanted to introduce is I have a limited series I'm going to do. It is for reading. So I know that I did a segment a few months ago where I was reading a children's book in Spanish. So I'm taking that book and I'm basically going to crop that part out of the episode from that last video. And then I actually had a few other books that are in Spanish, and I found one that is in French, and they're very, very challenging to find. In some cases, Spanish, you can find children's book everywhere. The French book that I found, it was actually a gift to my cousin, who is now 2 years old. And I wanted to read it to her because she's 2 years old, and I'm the only one in the family that understands French enough for her to understand what she's hearing. So I recorded it for her, and then I ended up doing that on another series, on another episode, particularly because I don't know, it's just fun to read stories, and it's a way that it's one of those ways that people connect. So I will have at least 4 or 5 videos up at some point this month where you'll be able to get your kids involved, because I think that with education, when it comes to language and culture, you got to start earlier. My parents always said that when you have a good start, they'll finish strong. So basically, like for parents who want to get their children started on learning a new language, they're more than welcome to play this for them. It is just straightforward me reading a book, and I'll also be showing the pictures. And if you also would like to purchase that book, just to have it on hand, I will also be posting the link in terms of where I found them on those videos. So there's that. And then going a little bit back to cultural topics, I do want to just spend like a few minutes just talking about French culture, particularly stereotypes. And I think this is something that I feel like I should probably talk about because I've had experiences with this, particularly French speaking culture as a French speaker. So one of the things that I basically wanted to talk about was just that. So when it comes to French culture, there are nearly, I would say roughly around 20 different territories and countries that basically speak French as an official language, or even if it's not an official language, like a nationally recognized language, it will be like an official language where people generally speak this language throughout a period of time in their life. So particularly, like one of the things that I get all the time is when I tell people that I speak French with my American accent, and I could tell people I'm from Kentucky. This is where I'm from. And I've gotten on multiple occasions, people will say, "Oh, are you Haitian?" And I'm thinking, no, no. I understand where that assumption may come from, but at the same time, it's not always well received. So first of all, don't you don't want to assume you know where someone's from. Like for me, I know that even with the fact this is with being having been speaking French for a very long time, is I do recognize the accent when I know, okay, I know where you're. I think I know where you're from. My first instinct is just ask where they're from. Where are you from? Because you might be surprised that they're not from where you think that they're from. Um, I mean, I remember running into some to a couple of people, and I said, "Where are you from?" And they said, "I'm from France." And I was like, "Okay," like because in my mind I'm thinking I recognize your accent, but I don't want to assume because it could cause. The only thing is that it just isn't really well received when it's like you're a black person and someone's saying, "Oh, are you Haitian?" And it makes me think, well, and it's happened multiple times. So I feel like, okay, like I'm not gonna get upset about it. I want to educate on it. So you can't assume that just because a person is black that they speak and they speak French that they're Haitian. It just doesn't. It's not really. Even in like in France, they're not all a bunch of white people. I promise you that diversity, and particularly in Paris, from what I've seen, because that is mainly the city that I've been in, they are very, very diverse. One of my favorite YouTubers, not even French, basically she talks about. She's a New Zealander and she has traveled and lived. She traveled to France and has been living there for quite some time. And she was talking about she released a recent video talking about her like her thoughts on Emily in Paris. And she said one thing, and this is a white person. She said, the one thing that really bothers me is the fact that they didn't really show a lot of diversity that actually is there. And I mean, for me, I'm just thinking, okay, well, I mean, I haven't seen it, to be honest with you. I'm sorry if that upsets any of you guys who are watching. I have not seen it. And I'm thinking, okay, for someone to comment that, is saying something, because a lot of times we overlook the fact that a lot of different countries, even like particularly in Europe, there's a lot of history of migration. Particularly in like Germany, I do know that there are, people that come there from, Syria or Morocco or a lot of different countries that speak similar languages. I know that a lot of people who are, I know that there are a lot of people who are from like North African countries that happen to have French as an official language. They migrate to France or Belgium or areas like that because if French is an official language in their country, they're most likely going to go travel to another country that speaks one of the languages that they speak. It's just a common sense thing, you know. So it's just easier and it's also closer. Also, sometimes people don't realize this. When you think about designers, a lot of people are traveling to certain areas because there's more opportunity there. That's how immigration pretty much works. A lot of people come because they want opportunities, or there's something going on in their own countries that they don't really want to be a part of, like war, and bombs going off, in class, while you're in classrooms, so to say. So it's just people go for different opportunities. For example, um, basically, like I know there's a couple of artists who are Moroccan by heritage. They're both German. There's an artist. Her name is Namika. I'm actually doing a couple of her lyrics. I've actually have put in the works of doing a Music Monday for, or a Dissect a Song. So her music, particularly a lot of her both of her albums that I've previously listened to, have basically talked about her Moroccan roots. So sometimes people come to different countries because of whatever the reason is, and then they're there and they learn that they're there and they're from there, or they're born there because of their families that have migrated. So I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, even when you think about famous people, particularly Yves Saint Laurent, most people know him as that one of the great designers who was basically Dior's right hand man before he died. He started his own fashion house. To be honest with you, he was actually born in Oran, Algeria. He was originally Algerian, but he moved to France primarily because that was where the opportunity was. Karl Lagerfeld, rest in peace. I know that he recently died. I think it was either last year or the year before that. I feel like time goes by and you just kind of lose track. But yeah, basically with him is he's actually German. Karl Lagerfeld is German. So you got to remember that, you know, we can't only, I mean, you can't really assume that because people speak a certain language that this is where they come from. So I'm just going to say, when you encounter someone who says that they speak a certain language, the main thing you should always ask is, where are you from? Don't ask, are you from this country that I think you're from? Because I understand the intent behind asking, but sometimes, in my case, it can kind of come off a little racist. So that's one of the things I want to educate in case people didn't know. just so you know. Okay. So a couple of recommendations since we're moving on to that. Recommendations I have for this month. I just started reading A Promised Land by none other than Barack Obama. I'm about maybe a 16th of the way through. I read about an hour every day, and the book is really long, so it's a lot to get through. I mean, I don't really care how long it is because reading is reading. You know, it is what it is, and I'm really excited. I was actually really excited when I pre-ordered this, so really excited about that. I recommend it. It's actually really funny. I think so, especially like in the first part of the book, which is where I'm at. I know that other people have pretty much, there are other people who probably read it already and they're just already like, why aren't you finished with it? Yeah, I read for an hour every day, and then and I time myself, so I'm not like, so I'm spacing it out, but I'm chugging my way through it and I really enjoy it. And then the next thing is I have a couple of online course recommendations. I don't think that they're on my website yet, but they will be by the time this video is posted. But I have a couple of online courses I've been taking that because the thing is, when you're multilingual, you have to maintain all of the languages that are in your head. So there's a German course. It's by DW, Deutsche Welle. It is it's basically, if you've ever heard of them, they basically are like, they do news, they do documentaries, they do really they have really amazing content to really help people learn more about German culture and heritage and history and art and culture and all the things that make up German culture. They have like a couple of films that I really like, and they actually have this whole course that's based off this whole movie. So it's like 2 minutes of every, you know, there's like, each course is like, maybe they'll play like 2 minutes of that course, of that movie, and then they'll basically have like a whole lesson on what they're talking about in that section of the movie. You can find that on YouTube, which I'll have that linked. It's also on our website as a recommendation under the fun videos tab if you go under entertainment. And then also, if you're wanting to learn Italian or really dive deep into Italian, there's 3 different courses from Wellesley College. I believe they're located in Boston, but it's a very, very good course. There's the beginner one, the intermediate, and then the advanced. I'm currently getting my way towards, like, I'm just finishing up the the immediate course. Intermediate course, but it is very great because it's like, it breaks down everything you need to know. So I'm basically confident that by the end of the course, you're thinking, okay, I think I know what I'm doing. You know, I think that they go through all the different tenses, they go through vocabulary, they have videos of like real conversations so you can actually see what it looks like, and then they highlight any vocab words that you may not know already. They have listening comprehension, and it's very, very, really, really engaging. I think so. It's very well done. And I know that a couple of them, I think they're going to be archived soon, because those courses are going to be closing at some point this year. But they're going to be updating it because it's the 2020 versions that are up for all 3 of those. And they're going to be updating it, and the newer one is going to come out. So even if you didn't get to audit, you know, the current ones for free, you still get to audit the next ones that are coming out. So I want to just put that out there in case you have any desire to learn German or Italian. And I'm always looking for more information, just so that people are able to get connected to free resources. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you become more connected to the world and the people that are in it, and we're finding resources for you to be able to do so. You know, I will just say, as a multilingual, it is not easy maintain, I mean, when you're multilingual, you have to maintain all of them. So I'm constantly taking courses, I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly listening to podcasts, I'm constantly trying to make sure that my brain is consistently exposed to different languages. And whether it be courses or not, I'm basically here to create resources for you to get better at, you know, the language that you really want to speak. Okay, and then the next segment we're going to move into. So this is when I actually get to teach you guys languages. So I'm going to teach you one thing as usual in every single language that I speak. So this week, this month, because it's New Year's, I'm going to basically be teaching you how to say Happy New Year in every single language that I know. So the first one, obviously, with French is bonne année. I almost said Merry Christmas, but I was like, no, that's not it. Bonne année. Yeah, so it literally means good year, but you can just say it, bonne année. But then the thing is that the holiday of the New Year is called le réveillon. So I don't know. They say good year, but then like the actual holiday is le réveillon. Weird. And then Spanish, Feliz Año Nuevo. Happy New Year, literally. Okay, and then German, Deutsch, there are a couple of different things that I have there. You can say Frohes Neues Jahr, which is basically like Happy New Year. You can also say something like Ein glückliches neues Jahr, which is like kind of like Happiest New Year, like I don't know. It basically is another way of saying Happy New Year. And I think it really varies from region to region, because I know that people say different things, or they pronounce even different things. They pronounce them differently throughout different parts of the country, as it is with any other country. Italiano, semplice, buon anno, buon anno. In Portuguese, Feliz Ano Novo, Feliz Ano Novo. Nederlands, gelukkig Nieuwjaar. Dutch is very complicated because like the G, the G kind of like gets you, because I realize that like the G is pronounced like the same way as the CH in German. So sometimes and they're very similar to each other, so a lot of times you have to be really careful with that. Gelukkig Nieuwjaar. Yeah. I promise you that's correct. Okay, and then Katala. So Katala, simple, bon année now. Bon année now. Okay, so now that we got that done, I do want to talk about the fact that, again, with new content, as I have so much new content that I have for you guys, especially because this year is the year that I plan on working on our education reform. Education reform, because we have a new president, vice president coming in, and basically a new Congress and new members of Senate, is that what we're looking at here is that this is a time of change. And a lot of times when people are reflecting on what they want in life, they're reflecting on, and I think that the main thing that I really want to focus on this year is just giving other people opportunities to learn new languages. And so, before I let you guys go, because this is the end of the series, or the end of this episode, is I have a short video for you guys in terms of what our plan for, or our mission for this coming year, was we're wanting to really focus on education, not just on this platform of teaching you languages, but also helping you, helping us get into the classroom, so that we can actually be able to make a difference, to give you guys better opportunities with whatever careers you want to do in life. Giving parents opportunities to help their children get better opportunities in terms of language. And even if you don't have to necessarily be a person who's still in school, but we basically want to make language education a requirement, because it's going to help us in all aspects. So I have this short video for you, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you next month.
We made it to a new year, 2021, a time of year where we reflect on what we want to do differently than the last. So take a sec and imagine what the world would look like if more Americans could speak a second language. What effect would that have on our economy, our politics, our businesses, our jobs, or even what kind of world we want to live in, what your travel experiences look like? Did you know that according to the U.S. Department of Education, 1 in 5 American jobs are connected to international trade? Did you know that the American Academy of Arts and Sciences reported 1 in 4 federal officers don't meet the language requirements to do their jobs well? How do you think that affects our ability as a nation to properly communicate with foreign countries and even many people within the United States? What about the fact that the New American Economy back in 2017 published a report stating that the American economy loses nearly $2 billion every year due to language and cultural misunderstandings, and that the demand for bilingual workers has nearly tripled between 2010 and 2015, and even today that gap could possibly be wider as we're so globally connected. These problems can make us less competitive in a world that speaks more than just English. So the main question here is, how do we begin to solve these problems? First, the US doesn't have a national mandate on language education, so we need to create one. We can start by teaching our children the value of language as early as possible and why it's important. Not only to teach them to simply learn a language, but personally connect to its culture too. We need to make sure we're teaching practical use in our classrooms and allowing students to be active participants in whatever aspects of language they want to learn more about, and even encouraging participation in study abroad opportunities. When we do this, students can be proficient in a second language by the time they're 18. Imagine being able to do whatever you want professionally and having the freedom to do it wherever you choose. When we do this, we can help our next generation become more connected to the world and the people that are in it.